Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Biology Sector. In today's video, we are going to understand what is the biodiversity and what is the natural threats of the biodiversity. So first, we are going to understand what do we mean by the biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variations among living organisms from the different sources including terrestrial, marine and desert ecosystem and the ecological complexes of which they are a part. Now, how many types of the biodiversity there? There are mainly three types of the biodiversity. First, species biodiversity, second, genetic biodiversity, and third, ecological biodiversity. Genetic biodiversity. If we are going to understand what is a genetic biodiversity, it is defined as a genetic variability present within the species. What is a species biodiversity? The species biodiversity is defined as a number of the different species present in an ecosystem and relatively abundance of the each of these species. And if we are talking about the ecological biodiversity, it is a biodiversity that variations among the living organisms from the different sources including terrestrial, marine and desert ecosystem and the ecological complexes within they are a part, which is also defined as a biodiversity. Now, if we are going to learn about the threats affecting the biodiversity, so first is the over exploitations, second habitat loss, degradations and fragmentations, third is the invasive species, fourth is populations, fifth is deforestations, and sixth is a climate change. We are going to learn all these five threats by one. First, deforestations. Deforestation can be defined as a large-scale removal of the trees from the forest or other any land for the facilitations of human activities. It is a serious environmental concern in it since it can result in the loss of biodiversity, damage to natural habitations, disturbance in the water cycle and the soil erosions. Deforestation is also a contributor to climate change and the global warming. Now, pollution. Ecosystems are impacted by air pollution, particularly sulfur and nitrogen emissions, and the ground level ozone as it affects their ability to function and grow. Emissions of both sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides deposit in water on the vegetation on a soil as acid rain, thereby increasing their acidity and adverse effect of flora and fauna. Ultimately, acidification affects the ability of ecosystem to provide ecosystem services such as example nutrient cycling, carbon cycling, but also our water provisions on which the planet and human life is dependent. Climate change. Climate change refers to long-term shift in temperature and weather pattern. Such shift can be natural due to the changes in the sun's activity or large volcanic eruptions. But since the 80s, human activities has been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuel like coal, oil and gas. Some amount of climate change can be attributed to the natural phenomena over the course of the Earth's existence, volcanic eruptions, fluctuations, solar radiations, tectonic shifts, and even the small changes in our orbit have all had a selfish effect on the planetary warming and the cooling pattern. Overexploitations. Overexploitations refers to the unsustainable harvesting of species from the wild at the rates faster than natural population can recover. These dangerous practices threaten the thousands of species with existence extinctions. Like there are some examples of over exploitation include industrial fishing, animal hunted and trade or sport, animals sold into the pet trade, lagging mature natural forests and excessive plant harvest, unsustainable over extraction of natural resources. In industrial fishing, the excess fishing depletes fish population, affect the marine ecosystem. Animal hunting or trade and sport overhunting can push the one healthy population toward the extinctions. Animal sold and the pet trade as exotic pet industry can harm wildlife populations, lagging mature natural forest, deforestation, disruption, habitat, and reduce the biodiversity. Excess plant harvest such like species like ginseng, orchid, and the cacti are over harvested. Unsustainable over extractions of the natural resources, wildlife can be unintentionally impacted by the fossil fuel and the mineral extractions. Habitat loss, degradations, and fragmentation. These are the main three terms we basically used for the biodiversity threaten. Habitat loss, degradation, fragmentation are the largest cause of biodiversity loss, the primary factor resulting in species being listed as a threatened or endangered. It can be the three-way like habitat disruption, like the process by which a natural habitat becomes the incapable of supporting its native species. Habitat degradation, a general term describing as a set of the process by which the habitat quality is reduced. Habitat degradation may occur through the natural process like drought, heat, cold, and through the human activities like forestry, agricultural, and urbanizations. Habitat fragmentations, also known as the species fragmentations, is a process by which a large contiguous habitats get divided into a smaller, isolated patches of the habitats. The intentionally of these smaller habitat has a direct impact all the species, their community structure, and the overall ecosystem of this fragment. These are the many direct, indirect, natural, and human reason behind this phenomena. Invasive species. Invasive species are aquatic terrestrial organisms not native to the region. These species cause economic and biological harm and are capable of spreading a new area. Invasive species do not include livestock, honeybees, domestic pets, intentionally planted agronomic crops or non-native organisms that do not cause economic or biological harm. Such example, barking oil, zebra mussel, and loin fish. Populations. Populations of human cause many way of disturb the biodiversity, like over for the increasing of the population it cause over harvesting, over exploitation, overuse of water, spread of disease. Growing human population is cause many problems. Over harvesting and over exploitation, like if the population is increased, our demand for the resources like a food, medicines, and the timber drives over harvesting, overfishing, over hunting, and the excessive harvesting of the wildlife contribution to the decline of the various species. Water use. Large scales of water catchments affect by the dams and irrigations, reduce water flows, and affect the aquatic ecosystem. Spread of disease, trade, travel, facilitate, and spread of disease affecting the both human and the wildlife. Growing human population as a global population increase, so does the demand for natural resources, unsustainable resources, extraction further exacerbate biodiversity loss. Thank you for watching my videos. I'll be back with some more interesting topic. Like, subscribe, and share my channel and suggest the topics for my next videos. Thank you.